Hey everybody, it's Libby and I'm back on the WootRecruit YouTube channel. What is WootRecruit? Well, we are the only recruiting process designed specifically for the high turnover industry, such as cleaning, lawn care, commercial cleaning, roofing, you name it. If you're in a service-based industry, we are the go-to recruiter for you. And I want to welcome our guest, Laura. If you want to introduce yourself, go for it.
Hi, I'm Laura Natoli. I own a cleaning business on Long Island in New York, and we absolutely love WootRecruit. I will shout WootRecruit from all the mountaintops. I tell all my friends to go for it because it has completely changed my life and business when it comes to hiring.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I didn't pay her to say that either, by the way.
No, it's true. Ask my friends; they know.
So let's get started. I always ask everybody the same question as we kind of segue into, topics of conversation. And so what is the number one hiring mistake you recall making in your entrepreneur journey?
Ooh, you got 3 days?
There's like so many.
So many. Honestly, my biggest hiring mistake was hiring anybody with a pulse. If you showed up and you seemed nice, you got the job. And I trusted everybody on what they said because I didn't have a lot of options. So it was either, I get somebody because they showed up or I don't have an employee.
Oh, yeah. Totally been there. Totally understand. Laura just shot the Fearlessness podcast with me, and you had said something that was a trigger for me from my past. You said, running to an interview in your sweatpants because you had been cleaning a house all day.
Yep.
And so, through that time, like, what do you think that you learned as far as that struggle with being an owner in the field and still trying to grow your business? Like, what advice would you give any of the listeners when it comes to recruiting? Like, how do I recruit if I'm still scrubbing a toilet every day in the field or I'm mowing a lawn? Because this is a huge bottleneck for people that are owner operators trying to get out of the field. That was me. That's how I created WootRecruit. That's where it came from.
Yeah, I feel like it's honestly, you really are going to struggle to make time to hire if you are out in the field all day. Because as it is, if you're out in the field all day, your time is so limited. So after working in the field all day, scrubbing toilets in your sweatpants, I mean, for me, I was coming out of cleaning all day, making phone calls to candidates that applied that didn't even really fit my needs, but I let them book an interview with me just because I was so desperate. And then I would say, like 9 out of 10 times, they're not showing up. And because I wasn't already in the office, I was wasting so much time. And I would book, I knew nothing before I started taking your, videos about hiring and whatnot. And I would book huge hour time slots for interviews that just wouldn't show up. And it became near impossible to grow.
One thing I noticed you say about hiring wrong person, anyone who showed up. How do you make your decisions now when hiring? Like, what's that look like now? What do you hire for if you're not desperate?
Yeah, so now we are definitely not desperate. If anything, I think I'm a little too picky. We hire now for integrity. I could care less if somebody has cleaning skills. I don't think it's necessarily a positive. And because I have so many candidates coming in for interviews, I'm able to really dig deep with the candidates coming in. And I ask some of the weirdest questions. I don't ask your basic questions anymore. I really dig deep.
I love that because then they can't like have prepared or like even professional interviewers would be like, oh, that's a weird question.
Oh yeah, I get some people to really pause and think, and I just live in the awkward silence and let them really think about it. Like, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? And I get to really dig deep with them and try to find out, even just through me selling our job and letting them know we do free cleanings for cancer patients. How do they react to that information? And really just am looking, are they a high integrity person?
Awesome. And so that being said, right, going from desperation to now being able to be more selective, having more time back, how would you say that's changed the culture of your company?
Oh my gosh, it's night and day. Honestly, our company culture is fantastic. I mean, our last employee that did leave, everyone was in the office crying because they were going to miss her so much. And, you know, before, when I wasn't able to be picky with who I hired, we had an incredible amount of call outs, lateness. We tolerated behavior that should not have been tolerated. Now, because I've been able to be so choosy with the hiring process, my employees are reliable. They love what they do. They're such good intentioned people. They treat our clients like gold. It's really done wonders for our whole culture and our company overall.
I love that. And you said you hire for integrity.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that some advice you can give some of our listeners on how do you see what are a couple questions, or what process do you put them through to see if they have integrity, and how do you see if someone has integrity? So just a few tips on that.
Yeah, it's really difficult. You kind of have to be a detective, I like to say. You know, the interview starts the moment that they walk through the door. So, you know, we have
You definitely listen to my videos.
Oh yeah, I do. I absolutely do. I do my studying from Libby. But we have our office dog. How do they react to the dog? Are they going to be comfortable going into the house? Once we go into the room, like I said, I asked those really odd questions. I asked what would they do if they won $5 million in the lottery? How are they reacting to that? How are they reacting to when I tell them about our company and how we work? Are they making eye contact with me? I mean, just these really subtle nuances uh, that, you know, and sometimes you're not going to always know. It's really, really hard to determine. Sometimes they can say and do all the right things, but I like to make my interviews a little odd, and I feel like it helps.
I love that. So many people think that the interview process has to do with the questions. So many people are fixated on the interview questions. And I'm like, and so you went to acting school. So
Mm-hmm.
I approach the interview process as a play.
I love that.
So think of it like a play. Everything is staged, and it's staged for a reason. And it has nothing to do with like setting up the applicant to fail, right? It's staged because we, the business, need to prepare. We need to prepare the office like we prepare a stage set. We need to make sure the chairs are here, pull a chair out, put a piece of trash on the floor. Do they pick it up? Like, how do they act? Are they on their phone? So it is a stage, it is a play. And we, the office, we need to rehearse it. We need to practice it. We need to have the office ready for rehearsal, ready for, performance. Every day at the same time when they're going to come in. And I love what you said about the cues. And I don't think enough people learn, and I pulled this book from the top shelf, learn the cues. But it's a heavy read because it's a big book. But there is a ton of insight that you can learn if you're the person doing the interviewing on people's cues. Because we went from scrubbing toilets to doing interviews, and all of a sudden we're supposed to know how to see this in a person. And so many people get discouraged. And at the end of the day, it's a whole different skill set, and we have to practice it and get good at it. We can't just like interview when we need someone and expect to be great at interviewing. Like, it is literally like, that's why I said we look at it like a play. We need to practice, rehearse, role play, have the right clothes on. Do you look appropriate? Like, is the office clean? and think of it in that aspect. But we're not going to be good at it. So we need to practice, and practicing. We practice sales calls all the time. You see all these sales trainings, but you see very little on like the actual interview process itself. And you're not going to always get it right. It's like dating. You could seem like Mr. Right for the first 13 years. No, I'm sorry. I'm a little bitter. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy's no. So doing things like researching social cues, like, do you know if you're talking to someone, their hands say a great deal about them, that their feet are, when they're sitting in a chair, if their feet are pointing slightly towards the door, that means they want to leave. So just learning the cues alone, because people can tell you all day long what they think you want to hear all day long. And if they're great at interviewing, it might be because they're professionals. But look at the cues, because the social cues are hard to mask or hide. Because again, they can say anything. They could be great at what comes out of their mouth, but what are their eyes saying? What are their hands saying? What are their feet saying? It's something that we need to get better at learning. And this is a great book. She studied the social cues of this is just regular social cues. It has nothing to do with interviewing. But I don't think we put enough weight on, like you said, I create a weird experience for my applicants.
I'm glad
like
I'm not
weird
the only
questions. So I love that because I don't think we put enough emphasis and weight on the actual interview process. And at WootRecruit, we're excited to launch professional services. And so we're going to have some coaches that will coach you on like, hey, let's set up the interview process. What do your questions look like? What's the office look like? It's going to be specific to the interview process because we need to master that. And like I said, it's hard and it's okay. We're going to fail. But we just need to be aware of it. So I love that topic. And so that being said, with, hiring for integrity and, improving your culture, I want to switch over to like remote. Do you run your company remote like setting? Because do your technicians come to the office every day? Is any of your office staff remote?
So none of our office staff is remote. We do have our technicians check in just once a week. So every Monday they check in. Everything else is remote.
So it's kind of like a remote like setting for the techs, for the cleaning technicians. That being said, what are some things that you guys do to help remote type culture in your company?
So we have a channel. I don't know if you've ever heard of the app Discord. So we chat with all of our technicians through Discord. We have
my
a kudos
26-year-old
channel.
keeps trying to get me to sign up for it.
Oh yeah, it's big in the gamer community. Yeah. Me and Holly are both gamers, so we decided to go with Discord instead of WhatsApp or Slack or any of those. But we communicate with them constantly on those, whether it be daily reminders, daily cleaning tips. We have a kudos channel where we shout them out if they get a compliment, and everybody likes to participate. And we really encourage that participation to cheer them on when they do get compliments. We do also have a monthly meeting with everybody where we get a bagel breakfast and just recap the month, shout people out, go over any, again, cleaning tips that we need to go over. And we do also like to do gatherings here and there, again, because it can be kind of lonely for the technicians when they're not working together every day. So we always do a barbecue in the summer where we grill up some hot dogs and hamburgers for them and, play some games. And then we always do a holiday party. So we like to do at least 2 gatherings per year just so that they can get together and have fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, we've found that there's high turnover in the service-based industry, especially if you're home service. And so most of your techs could be coming to an office. If you're long care, they probably come every day, but they're only there for a short time. And then they're spending the day in the field. So it's like a remote-like setting. And this could, for me, it's what contributes to our high turnover as well because of that lack of disconnect. So this is something that we've been focusing at my own service company at Organize It. We do in-person quarterlies now. And what we found is they love to go to restaurants. Like I used to have this giant office and we would host them in there and they just want to go to a restaurant and eat and talk to each other and get to know each other. So we quarterly now go to a restaurant in town. And because we go in the daytime, a lot of the restaurants will work with us and giving us like the room for free or a great deal on the food. And that's probably one of the things that my technicians love to do is eat together. Like that break bread together is that thing that they just love to do. And I wish I could do it more often, but scheduling and coordination just makes it harder if you want to do it once a month versus we do it quarterly. But we do it for 3 hours a quarter.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yes. So, well, Laura, thank you so much for being a guest on the WootRecruit YouTube channel. And, guys, that's a wrap for today's episode. It was my pleasure to guide you and with Holly through the ins and outs of some effective recruiting solutions. Remember that transforming your hiring isn't just a myth. It can be a reality. We just have to work on it, focus on it, and get some right processes in place. For more insights when it comes to recruiting or some strategies, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or to our blog. Until next time, keep pushing those boundaries of what you thought was possible with your hiring process.